13, so it would have been 12. So it was under 13s, and I went to Royal St James then. And then that was same again. That was because Warren Barra's dad would come and pick me up, and Warren used to play at Royal St James, and that's I just followed that. What them around there came, and I with my lifts, and I was a good player, but people had to get me. You know, it was difficult because I had no form of transport.
Yeah. And so, how long were you there for then, Keiron?
So, Royal St James, I did under 13s, under 14s, under 15s. So we did 3 seasons. We didn't get beat for 3 seasons. We had a phenomenal side. It was amazing. You know, I wouldn't like. I think it was about 5 or 6, 7 or 8 maybe who signed pro from that side. And then there was this big conflict happened because 80% of the side was from St Helens. The other 20 was from round that side of Wigan area. And we wanted to train in St Helens, they wanted us to train over there, and then the side sort of folded then. So then I had to follow Warren, and Warren went to Wigan St Jude's. So that was where I ended up meeting, well, I knew Sean long before that, but that's where I played with Sean for that under 16 season. We played together at Wigan St Jude's, and we had a really good side, a lot of great players there, and same again, we went unbeaten and went straight through and never lost a game in that year because all the great players from Orrell went to St Jude's, and it made them even better. And yeah, so it was, and that's when I signed from Saints from there. But there was lots along the way. There was lots of, you know, I went to a few Wigan camps in the summer holidays. They used to have a summer school, and Wigan got me across a few times, and I nearly signed for Widnes. I would have signed for Widnes because my brother Edward was friends with Jim Mills, who was the chairman of Widnes, and they were pushing me, you know, and I didn't know any better, and I actually agreed terms with Widnes. So I agreed a figure. I can't remember what it was. It wasn't a lot of money. Say it was $4,000 or whatever it was, a year, or $5,000 a year. It was nothing. And they went and signed. They signed an Aussie guy called Julian O'Neill, he ended up playing at Wigan in the end. I played against him. And he was a good player, Julian. He was a half-back, full-back, and Widnes had just signed him. And he cost them a lot more money than they anticipated. So Jim Mills rang Edward and said, I can't give Keiron the figure that we'd spoke about. This is what we could give him. But in the meantime, Saints had got wind that I'd agreed terms with Widnes, and I wanted to sign for Saints. And then I didn't, the rest is history. Went with our Tom, my other brother, because our Ed was a little bit embarrassed about going into Saints and what was happening with Widnes. So I went with my brother Tommy, and we went into Saints, and they offered me like a tracksuit and a packet of crisp, and that was me. I just signed, and I didn't want to go anywhere else.
So was the money any more?
No, a lot less. I think it was like £1,000 a year. It was ridiculous. It was nothing. It was pittance. But
and how old were you then?
What I would have I was 15 going on 16.
Right. Okay. And you'd obviously always followed Saints.
Yeah, I mean, I was from being a baby. We couldn't afford to go in and pay for games. You know, it was something that I couldn't, like, we didn't have money as a family growing up, and you know, my mum, obviously once my dad died, the income to the house went completely. My dad worked at Pilks, and he was not far off retirement, so she got a little settlement. She never told anybody what it was, but she got some form of payout from his pension, and she lived off his Pilks pension. So we didn't have excess money, never, ever, ever. You know, sort of learned from a young age that if I needed money, I had to earn my own money. You know, it was, my mum tried her best, and I didn't have lavish things in life, you know, and I never had that. I knew that I had to work, and I had to work hard and sort of try and earn my own money if I wanted trainers or tracksuits or any luxuries in life. I was never going to get it given to me. So, and she did try her best, and she did get me lots of things which probably went above and beyond. So whether that was scrap or whatever it was, you know, it was a lot of ways that we tried to earn money as kids, and that's what you do. And so if I did have money, I would try to get enough money together to pay into a game. But generally, it was either go and turn up at half time, because back then at Knowsley Road they used to open the gates at half time. You could get in for free, or if it was a big game, then we used to risk climbing the wall at the back near the men's toilets. So you'd have a couple of lads at the gates, and then the rest, nearly half a ball to go, be stood there, pogging each up this wall and getting over and cutting yourself on glass and all sorts. And so many of Boxing Day we've gone over with cut jumpers and split hands and just to watch a Saints game. So yeah, so it was all I've done. I was a fan. I was a fan on the terrace when Dean Bell, Jared McCracken knocked Dean Bell out on that game. I was there, and I'd just still been there as a fan now if everyone's had played. It was
so that was like early 80s.
Yeah. Yeah, it would have been 80s. Yeah, it would have been 80s. Yeah, 76, probably. Probably middle to late 80s.
Yeah. So at that time, from my memory, like it was either Saints or Wigan won it all the time, and
Wigan dominated.
Yeah,
Wigan really did. Saints had a couple of occasions where I can't remember what year it was. But they had when they had the Coors lager on the top, and they absolutely annihilated Wigan at Knowsley Road, and it was just I just remember skipping home after it as a kid, and it was an amazing thing. But that's that community, that sense of it's a religion in St Helens, isn't it? It's always been that's the way it goes. It's people like football, but you grow up with rugby league, and everybody knows who everybody is, and it was. And that was me. I had all my idols. Phil Vivas was my player. And I had the luxury of playing with Phil. And I did tell him that after a couple of years of playing with him, and he was like, "You're making me feel old now." So, Chris Hartwright, these guys. Phil came over, with Mal Meninga, and Phil was sort of, they used to call him the bagman who just carried Mal Meninga's bags. But Phil stayed for a long time and was an amazing fullback. And Chris Hartwright was, he was a local lad from Clockface or Sutton Leach or wherever he was, tough as teak, and you could see he bled red and white. The club meant a lot to him, and they were my idols growing up. I love those players. It was amazing, and that was the sort of comfort you get. When you sat in your bedroom and you're thinking like you want to be like these players.
So when you first arrived, what was it? Pretty overwhelming, or did you just feel like you kind of fitted in pretty much straight away? And
what at Saints?
Yeah.
Well, I remember when before I signed, they got me down for a training session. That's what they used to do. So they bring you in because it was part time then. So you'd train on a Tuesday night, Thursday night, train Saturday morning, and then play on a Sunday. That was the routine. So Tuesday nights used to be conditioning. So Mike McLennan was the coach at the time, and they invited me down on the Tuesday night. And we did a really tough fitness session. And I was fit as a flea-bat. I trained hard, I always did. And I did it, and I thought, bloody hell, I've never trained this hard in my life. And we did it, and and then as the session was over, and I was only a baby, and all the players grabbing hold of me, right, got a shower, get your kit, away we go, right, let's go, we're going to the Bird. And that's what they did. The players did that then, you train on a Tuesday, you trained hard, the lads went, and I had a skinful of beer in the Bird, and then went into town, and it was like, they used to call it Tuesday Club. And I was like, so I went out, I had a black currants and soda, and I was stood there just looking around, just thinking, wow, these people, I idolise these people. And that sort of gave me a taste of, if I did the right things and trained hard enough, and, that was doable for me. I could achieve that, it was more than achievable, but it's sort of the first rung on the ladder when you sign your contract, and then the rest you've got to try and work hard every day to get to the top of the ladder.
And so they were all actively kind of looking out for you, and
because of the name.
Yeah, right.
I'd imagine my brother played.
Yeah.
Both brothers played at Saints, and I think they'd heard that I was a good player, and there was. I wasn't the biggest of kids, I wasn't, and I genuinely wasn't. I had like growth spurts in my late teens where I got bigger, I got taller, but I was very small. I was exceptionally strong, and I trained hard, but I wasn't. And I used to love challenges, I used to love that many people. You'd be running out and you'd have because I played everywhere. I played back row, front row, full back, half back, wing, centre.
So at that point there was no.
I literally played. No, I'd never played 9.
Never
ever played 9 in my life. But I could play well everywhere. They just chucked me everywhere. I played half back for town team. I played full back for Lancashire, and I played everywhere. And towards the end, they knew I was a powerful runner of the ball and a really aggressive defender. So I played back row, but I was tiny. Like, and I mean tiny compared to other kids in that age group, 15, 16s. I remember we was playing against Wigan St Pat's one day at Jude's, and we was under 16s, and I was only small. And like the parents were laughing at me, and sort of one of them, he was a St Helens lad as well, and I remember his face now, and he laughed at me and said, you're going to get run over today, you lad, because I'm of my name, and stuff like that motivated me, and that's what I did, and from that, and I had the game of my life. I went out and I was punching holes in everybody, I was scragging everybody all over the field, like that fella's son. I just slammed him on the floor and he went off crying, and I was just like, right, okay. And that's, I faced that all my life, I faced it since I was a kid, and it was a tough upbringing. We had a real good group of friends, but it was tough, and I had, everybody's got a tale, and everybody's got a situation that they go through, and and that sort of fueled it all, and but I never had doubts that I was never going to be a professional rugby player, never ever, because ultimately I got given a gift, and it was down to me. There was only one person, that was myself, who was going to let myself down, and I was determined sort of that was never going to happen. And